Well, hello there, YouTube. So, bet you're wondering what's happened here. So, semi-common question I get is, how do you learn to land aeroplanes that you've not flown very much, or not flown at all? This is how. I've chosen an arrival point, so departure point, which is roughly on the arrival path to my local airport, which is Newcastle, and set the arrival point as Newcastle. And we basically spawned in midair in our CRJ, and we're going to go and shoot a practice approach and landing. Now, this is one of my first times flying the aircraft, which is why the landing is going to be awful. But this is one of the issues you have, is the aircraft's climbing and stalling. We're not, don't worry. Okay, maybe we are. If you just let that settle, and suddenly you're flying as normal. Now, I'm tracking directly toward, not even towards the airfield, away from it. So I'm going to take the gear up, and I've lost away. That's interesting. That's not supposed to behave like that. So what I'll do is my gear is selected up, power is on full. Just flying straight ahead for now, before I try and attempt to turn on course. And we're accelerating away. So I now do my turn on course and my climb out. So we're going to do a turn, and we're basically turn towards the coast here. So it helps with your local aerodrome if you know the VFR landmarks. So basically we are flying visual flight rules here. That should be the time, hopefully. Yeah, we'll be Gucci mane. I'm actually looking to move into this area, fun fact. Roughly down there. If I can maps correct, which I probably can't. Can we roughly that area? So anyway, this is central Newcastle now. So we're going to do a turn on course and follow the time. 180 knots is a good speed. We'll put a bit of extra, goose the throttles a little, just to give us a bit of extra power. And I'm going to roll out and I'm going to aim for the mouth of the Tyne here. That is a good downwind leg for me. Now, I am just hand flying the aircraft here with no assistance whatsoever, just to get a feel for how the aircraft handles. Just going to ensure my headphones on my noggin, just in case there's any alarms going off. I'll give you a bit of aircraft audio. Aircraft audio. There you go. I'll give you an Geordie accent as well, if that helps. We've got a full power, and there we go. So I am literally just below 180 knots. I want a bit more throttle than that, maybe 70%, and we'll stick it in. And what I'm going to do is have a look at the iPad here. Checklists. Okay, that's cool. So 160. I'm going to point at the mouth of the Tyne here, and basically we will. So this will be A19. Yeah, A19. Well, no, it's the Tyne Tunnel Road. I can't remember the name of it now. Yeah, because that's Silverlink Shopping Centre there. So I want 2,500 feet, which is what we're at. Perfection. And I'm basically going to try and nail the altitude for now. Bit of extra power. And we're coming out to the coast. And basically, so you see the lighthouse there off the coast. That's St Mary's. That is our turn to final cue. So I'm going to stop my turn in now. 240 knots is quite quick for this stage of the approach. So I'll pull the throttle back. At 2,500 feet on the radar. The aerodrome is hidden behind cloud today, but it is roughly in that area. This is South Beach and Blythe. And the port there is Port of Blythe. Start my turn into final now. Incredible levels of detail actually, if they're looking at it down there. I can pull apart where we are, and like the photogrammetry is amazing as a scenery tool. We are pretty much going to just be turned in now. So speed brake is going to be disarmed for now, which is fine. We've got a flap 20, and I'll go gear down. I'm going to descend down just so that we can see the runway. Okay, well, we're not going to actually be able to see it here, so I'm going to do is I'm just going to force the game away from live weather and just to a clear sky preset. Oh god, hello. You can see the aerodrome ahead there. Now I've got a moth that's found its way into my room. Because I've got the window open because it is a rather hot day. And we can now see the runway though, which is particularly useful because we, like you know, we are literally hand flying the aircraft today. Flap 45 gives us full landing flap. That's what we know to be full landing flap. And like I say, considering the fact that we're visually just, you know, moving our way around the approach, that is pretty decent flying. Right, now we are just going to intercept the extended glide. I'm aiming for an intercept roughly in this area here, so well, just below the nose. And then we're going to turn on the final. Nice and genteel. Now the way we look for a good lineup is both sides of the runway should be the same length. When we look out the window. Bit of power, power, come on! So, as usual, so that's a little bit of an abnormal manoeuvre, but we're just being aware of that. So this is really just, this entire flight was a way for me to test the Aerosoft CRJ. No, she hasn't. So I was trying to get a perked up view in the seat there, but I can't. That is relaxed, that is bumped up. So I do not believe that I want to record this aircraft basically. This video is mainly an excuse to test whether this aircraft is something I want to record. The answer is no, I don't. Idle throttle and on the tail brakes now. I want to pull the aircraft down to 40 knots before I turn off, and we're going to vacate here. So that was really just that flight there. I do recommend it if you are new to an aircraft and just looking to get a feel for how the aircraft handles. So that crash we had on the finals, that has put me off flying this aircraft, I'm not going to lie. We have indeed. That was a really short video today, but it was just aimed at talking about sort of how we do an approach. So we just, you know, we shoot a visual approach. You're going to shoot it to the same, you know, I would recommend doing it at your local airport so you know the area quite well. But basically what we've sort of discovered from that is, unfortunately, the Aerosoft CRJ is still at the place that I want to play it. But overall, it did give us a good feel for flying the approach in the aircraft, how the aircraft feels to hand fly, and yeah, a little bit more confidence as well as in hand flying and approach. I'm going to taxi to the executive parking area because we haven't got passengers on board. We're just going to leave the aircraft there. But I enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys did too. If you did, hit that like button. Subscribe to see more from me on a regular basis. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye. And we're going to park up at Samson Aviation. And that's Samson in front of us.